good evening. How's everyone doing today? Welcome to the road, and we're traveling as usual. Today I wanted to talk about progressiveness and women's rights across mythology. And I wanted to start with, of course, Mesopotamia, and then going all the way to modern day. Now, why do I want to talk about women's rights? Because back in the old days, it was more progressive than we had now. Meaning, back in the old days, women actually had more rights. Even though they were not part of the monarchy, they were part of the advisory, they were priestesses, and they were goddesses. Most important goddess that has survived most of Mesopotamia is Ereshkigal. Now, who's Ereshkigal, or who is Sartum Erkal, which is the Queen of Erkala, or Queen of the Dead? She is the, later on will be masculinized and be the version of Hades from Greek. Ereshkigal's job, long story short, is a judge, jury, executioner. What she does was basically take the souls of the dead, make sure that they had whatever unfinished business they had to do, they finished it, and then she either took them over, like basically had them go to the afterlife, or they were reincarnated again if they wanted to have like a second chance or third chance or whatever it is. And she ruled Erkala, she ruled the underworld with an iron fist, to the point that mentioning her name, her true name, not the Queen of Erkala, but her true name, would make kings fear, including one of the most famous kings in Babylon, and that is Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh actually, at one point in time, had to go to the underworld to bring in Enkidu, and he had to pay his dues and pay his respect to the Queen of the underworld in order to bring his friend back. Now, he has been there, according to mythology, about like two times, like two major times, and then there's another story where it's three times. But there's one time he brings his friend back. The other time he can't do it. The other time it was just basically she was like, nope, can't do it, sorry. And he couldn't fight. He couldn't do anything. He started fearing death. But anyways, that's a different story for a different time. The reason why I'm saying this one of the most famous priestesses was actually a scribe. Now, for the life of me, I can never pronounce her name correctly. It's Inch something, but she was a priestess of Ishtar, and she was a high priestess of Ishtar. Ishtar was the goddess of war and love, and she was a high priestess of it. She basically wrote an entire poem, and she was the cornerstone of the whole cult of Ishtar and how women were in power. The way she lived, she was actually she was actually a princess. And then she let go of the royalty to become a priestess, because back then priestesses were higher up in the hierarchy than kings. Again, women were more powerful back then. Now you get that a lot happening, and then you start getting that as well with ancient Egypt. Ancient Egypt, you get it in the form of Isis, of Isis. And Isis pretty much she is the embodiment of an exhausted mom and having to deal with idiots her entire life. Like, she has to deal with an idiotic husband and an idiotic son. The idiotic son is Horus, the idiotic husband is Osiris, and one of the things that she had to deal with Osiris was the fact that he got tricked by his brother into going into a box. It's one of the most famous. My daughter is just like sitting down, like cracking up, But that's basically it. Sid basically goes to his brother, goes like, hey, I've got a box, can you, I don't think you can fit on it. Osiris is like, no, I can fit on it, fit inside it. And he starts fitting inside it, and Sid basically closes the box, and yeah, pretty much sews them off into different pieces and throws them all over like the Nile. And poor Aziz had to literally go back, grab the entire things, put them back together, and I can imagine her going the entire time going like, why am I married to this idiot? Same thing with her son Horus. And people were afraid, a lot of the pharaohs were afraid of Aziz. They were afraid of her because they were afraid of what she was capable of doing. And then there was like Shamhat, who is the goddess of war. She was Shamhat or Haktor, it depends on like which version of the story she goes and how drunk she is. That's another funny story as well. But anyways, again, women were pretty much, they were never kings, but they were very respected and they were very feared. Life goes on, until we have nowadays, where we don't have as much progression as we had back in the ancient times. Some blame it on the Abrahamic religions. I can see where they come from. Some they blame it on pretty much the Greeks and the Romans. No one knows exactly where you can't really pinpoint where that change happened, because every era has it. Babylon had the Akkadians. Greek had, I think it was the dude who did the Medusa story. Forgot his name. That one. I think Ovid. Yes, his name is Ovid. Ancient Egypt had basically Ramses or Ramses and like Hovu Khafra and everyone had their thing where it basically changed to where it was a patriarch. It changed from a matriarchy to a patriarch. Now, why do I talk about this one, or why I enjoy talking about this one, is because when we talk about women's rights and when we talk about women's evolution, we always refer to the olden days, and people were like, well, we want to be back like the old days where women were like in the 50s and 60s, 40s and 50s. And if they really want to do it with the olden days, they would pretty much be pro women, pro everything women, because again, ancient times, women had so much more power than they did now. Heck, we have an entire civilization that was nothing but women, which were the Amazonians, which ironically DC has them as the Wonder Woman pretty much comes from it, even though the technical speaking of Wonder Woman with the whole Hera thing is a little widespread, because Amazon and Greek are two different things. But anyways, DC as usual gets everything wrong, but I'm not going to even talk about this one. It's for another video. Just wanted to have a little bit of fun with the mythology. And anyways, if you have anything else we want to talk about it, please put it in the comments down below. I'm looking forward for next time. Bye bye.